Hello and welcome to Little Laughs, a sneaky episode. Usually, it's only Tuesday that you get to hear our voices on this podcast. It's not a Tuesday. I don't know what day it is, but we are going to start doing little mini episodes that, there's stories. There's a lot of stories we found that don't fit into the season that we're doing, and we don't think they're long enough to do a full hour episode, but they're great, fun tidbits from history nonetheless. So welcome to the first ever Little Laughs. Sometimes these will just be hosted by me. Sometimes they'll just be hosted by Jake. Sometimes they'll be 10 minutes. Sometimes they'll be 20. We'll just see how it goes moving forward, but we're trying to bring more and more to you guys who love this show. So thank you very much. Jake, this episode, we have been told, is the inaugural episode, and it dives into the wild story of a Cold War-era CIA invention and the true tale of its first and only use in the Arctic. I'm guessing it wasn't a great invention if they only used it once.
Whoa, hold on that. Let's hear the story. Let's not get our jump to conclusions mad out.
Okay.
And yeah, man, I've got Coldfeet coming into this one.
Ooh, maybe it was, like the bombs, in World War II. Those were only used once because they worked too well.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe that's what this is. So you're right.
Bad bombs.
Shouldn't have jumped to conclusions. Let's dive right in to the Little Laughs. Music right now. At the end of World War II, talented inventor Robert Fulton was working on what he considered a project of a lifetime, a flying car.
It's a big one.
With 15 acres in Danbury, Connecticut, he had plenty of room to tinker on this next invention that was before the CIA got in the way. Danbury, Connecticut, a home to Jake and I. We live right in that area. So that's cool. Shout out. It was in the mid-1950s, and the Cold War was beginning to really take shape. The CIA, active as ever, found itself with an issue. With its vast network of covert agents, the agency and its Special Activities Division paramilitary officers were struggling with how to extract high-value agents carrying important intelligence from hostile or remote areas. Thus, the Skyhook was born. Oh, okay. So, you know how to dump these people into the area. World War II was the birth of the paratroopers, which, how do we get behind enemy lines? Paratroopers. Okay, we'll just have guys jump out of a plane, and then we have D-Day, Normandy on both sides. Now this is the opposite. How do we get someone out of there?
Yeah, and James, the only reference point that anyone listening to this needs, because if you've watched this, you've seen the other thing, is Batman, Dark Knight. It's when Christian Bale robs the bank in Asia.
How's he do it?
He robs the bank, he goes in, he does Batman stuff, he breaks in, he explodes, he grabs the guy, and then he sends up that blinking balloon, and then the plane hooks him and he goes.
Oh, wow.
He says he's going on the yacht. Yeah.
Also, the movie Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson and the guy, Gene Hackman. Remember that? They're, flying by on a helicopter with a rope ladder, and Owen Wilson has to run and jump onto it. What a good movie. Owen Wilson's only serious movie. Such a good movie. Okay. So, the CIA approached Fulton. Robert Fulton in Danbury. And development of this unique system soon began. In short, the Skyhook worked essentially just as its name suggested. In theory, a plane would fly overhead, dragging a cable behind it, and the operative on the ground would somehow be safely snagged and extracted from the area. All without the plane having to slow down and endanger itself. The obvious massive advantage to the system was that planes had longer range and didn't have to loiter the same way helicopters did. Something the CIA could not afford to use in a hostile area far from home. Because I was going to say, yeah, helicopters is kind of like, planes go fast, dude.
They hover, yeah.
Planes go way too fast for this.
Planes are cooking.
By 1958, the Skyhook was finished. I mean, I need to know because it's really just a rope with a hook, right?
Yeah, you got it.
How long did it take him to do that?
Skyhook.
A couple years? All right. Fulton and the CIA had developed a package that could be pre-dropped by a plane that contained all the necessary equipment for an agent to set up the retrieval system. The package contained a harness for cargo or a person, attached a high-strength braided nylon line, and a balloon inflated by a helium bottle. Okay, very interested in the balloon. In essence, this is how it worked. The pickup aircraft was equipped with 2 tubular steel horns, 30 feet long and protruding from its nose outward. 2 tubular steel horns.
You got it. If you walked into a Texas ranch house and they had, like the Texas Longhorns, it's that on front of a plane.
Front of the plane. Yeah, okay. Prior to the pickup, the agent at the ground would harness themselves in and release the helium balloon, which would bring the other end of the line along with a bright Mylar marker up to 425 feet of altitude. Holy smokes. How are they going to get that shot? Okay. So it's the hook.
They flipped the system.
The hook. So the balloon goes up, just floats up slowly. And the hook is not going to hit the balloon because then it would just fall to the ground. It's going to actually hit the hook. Okay. What a fucking concept. Passing over, the aircraft flew into the line, aiming at a bright marker. As the line was caught between the forks on the nose of the aircraft, the balloon was released and a spring-loaded trigger mechanism secured the line to the aircraft. Did whiplash not exist in the 50s? After the initial pickup...
We'll get to that.
After the initial pickup, the line was snared by the pickup crew using a J-hook and attached to a powered winch, and the person or cargo pulled aboard. So yeah, of course this is going to work.
Yeah, easy peasy. Scoop and score, man.
You just gotta... The balloon floats up. Now the plane has something to aim for, and, they just better get it within the inch. Got to be pretty skilled pilots.
Do you need it within the inch? I mean, they got it spring loaded. It claps on there. You got to be in the spot.
Project Coldfeet. All right. So in May of 1961, 3 years later, a U.S. naval aircraft was conducting routine reconnaissance over the Arctic Ocean when it stumbled on something surprising. A Soviet drift station designed for research in the Arctic and to maintain a Soviet presence. It was found recently abandoned. A few days later, CIA intelligence reported that the Soviets had hastily abandoned the drift station, officially named NH, due to a pressure ridge crushing its ice runway. With little time to exit before the runway was crushed, the CIA believed the Soviet may have left valuable intelligence behind, believing it to be inaccessible to the Americans even if they found it. Okay. So there's just a whole floating, ice piece of land, like an ice island in the Arctic. The Soviets made a station out of it. It's called a drift station because the ice kind of drifts. The ice is about to crush and crumble, so the Soviets abandon it, and they just leave everything there because, hey, this is about to crumble anyway, and the U.S. wouldn't even be able to find this random piece of ice in the middle of the Arctic, and if they do, it's probably going to crush and fall. I get it. I'm on board. I understand what's happening.
Pretty badass by the Soviets. Badass by the Soviets.
Kind of cool, yeah. But with N8 far too deep in the Arctic, ice pack to be reached by an icebreaker and out of helicopter range, it became a wonderful opportunity to use Fulton's skyhook for the first time. Although tests had been successfully conducted with packages and later live pigs, no human had fully used the system yet. How many pigs do you think they killed testing this
out? Later live pigs. A couple.
Imagine the pig just standing there. Balloon gets hooked by a plane. Now the pig gets jolted into the air. Now you got to reel up the pig like you're a fisherman in the airplane, and then you just got a pig on the plane. That pig,
yeah,
got to be so damn confused.
Pigs are very smart animals. But yeah, and I think something you alluded to, which I'm assuming where part of this story is going, is a pig is pretty compact. Mm-hmm. And the only flaw in this plan right now is a whiplash situation. Otherwise, it's a perfect plan.
You need like a big neck brace, like a linebacker.
Something like that. We've got a harness, but yeah.
Okay, over the summer, the CIA selected and trained 2 Air Force volunteers, Major James Smith and Lieutenant Leonard Leshak, on how to operate the system before briefing them for the operation. A select crew was chosen to operate the P-2V aircraft that would pick them up. On May 28th of the following year, after 2 days of fruitlessly researching for N-8, the B-17 they were flying in finally made visual contact, and Smith and Leshak were parachuted down. Smith would later remark that on his way down, he realized that it was the most desolate, inhospitable looking, and uninviting place I had ever seen. Yeah, the Soviets really didn't take care of their homes, you know?
Dude, you're on the fucking moon, man. I mean, Antarctica on a literally a floating iceberg. I mean, this is horrifying. This is, you look out in the water and you see nothing except it's frozen water.
They had 72 hours to collect everything they could before the P-2V would return, and they would attempt to skyhook to safety. 72 hours. I thought this was going to be like, hey, parachute down. We'll take a lap around the, around the complex, right. Go see the back of the Safeway, see what's going on in the dumpster. And when we're back out front, hopefully you have the bread and the eggs and we can leave. 72 hours. That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, and you wonder how they timed that out. I mean, did they get like a nap schedule or something? Was it up to them to make the best time of their 72 hours? Because they don't really know what they're getting into.
Also, like, they can't put too much on their person. They got to skyhook back to safety.
Oh, I'm putting so much on my person.
I'm looking up drift stations, and I kind of want to look up, like, 1950 Arctic drift station and see if there's any pictures. Yeah, there's some.
Could you imagine staying awake for 72 hours in the middle of the Arctic alone while waiting to be picked up by this system that's never been used on a human before?
No, I can't. I mean, I don't know. They had to be given like either sleeping pills, probably not, or just uppers. I mean, I would guess they were given uppers.
So drifting station is kind of what you'd picture from the movies. It's the wintry scene in the movie, whether it's a scary movie and the alien comes to life or whatever it is, but it's a couple buildings on an iceberg.
Yeah, it's really just like a camp that they set up, even.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Soviets left some cool shit, like a porno or something. Something to do. Anyway. On May, when pickup time came, conditions were marginal at best. Great. The ice had a gray hue, and it was difficult to make out a horizon. The surface wind was blowing at 30 knots, nearing the limits of Skyhook's capability. You know, because this does have limits, Jake. You can't just Skyhook whenever you want.
Oh, I could Skyhook.
The cargo, nearly 150 pounds of recovered intelligence, went first and safely came aboard. Oh, okay, so I get it. So they Skyhooked. So they must have had like a huge like treasure chest, and they put all the intelligence there. And so wait, in a weird, dark way, this is a successful mission. I think even if those two guys die, the U.S. says they died for a successful mission.
Yeah. I mean, let's just take it one step at a time. You don't need to jump ahead there. We did it with the
I'll
stuff.
say it this
We've
way.
done it with a pig. We got the intelligence. Now the next step is to get the men.
I'm impressed they got the intelligence. That's what I'm coming from. It's just like, wow, okay. Skyhook
You got an edge up against Icehook, man. It makes sense to me.
Skyhook. You can't even say it.
This
right.
is Icehook. You know this is Icehook.
150 pounds of intelligence covered. Procedure called for an agent using the system to sit down with the harness attached. So with the wind blowing so strong, Smith had to physically hold Leshak down to the ground to avoid him being blown away. How big were these balloons? Oh my God.
Well, I'm assuming it's a big balloon, but we're also, I mean, we got some big wind going on.
But he couldn't hold on forever. What's that, Luke?
What's Smith thinking when he's holding this guy down, being like, if I'm not here, this guy's screwed, and then he goes up in the air, and Smith's like, wait, who's going to hold me down?
Great call. No one to hold Smith down.
God.
But Smith couldn't hold on forever, and strong gusts of wind eventually ripped Leshak from his grasp, and he was dragged nearly 300 feet across the ice, only stopping once he found a grasp on an ice block. Just as soon as he stopped himself, though, the P2V connected with the balloon. Smith watched as Leshak was hauled into the gray air, unable to see the plane above. What the fuck? How did the plane pick up the hook when it was blowing at like 30 whatever degrees?
I mean, it's a plane chasing a balloon. I mean, 300 feet. Picture how fast a plane is going. That's nothing.
That's
so
awesome. This was like skeet shooting for a plane.
For a plane, I mean, this is easy target practice. Yeah, and Luke, you answered your own question, and you didn't even realize it. Smith put the math together when he was holding down Leshak, and so he let Leshak go. He said, screw this. I'm not going to have anyone holding me. Let me see how it goes with Big Lee.
He's testing it out.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I can't believe that. So, I mean, just dragging on the ice. Imagine, like, how long do you think you can be, like, you know, am I ever going to stop? How long would you be dragged on the ice by a balloon? You know?
No.
You think you would die? Like, you know, when you fall, there's eventually an end. Like, maybe that could last like
that's
2
the
days.
scene we're seeing here. He's scraping against the ground. Yeah, it could be the end of it. I mean, you probably have a blade on you, so you could cut the balloon if needed. Because there's
Great call.
Military men.
Great call. Need a blade. That's a must. All right. So, I mean, he gets hooked. Where am I? Some of the people connected. Smith watches Leshak was hauled into the gray air, unable to see the plane above. Without knowing if Leshak had successfully made it, Smith had to prepare for his extraction. Facing the same issues, he was also blown across the ice, finally finding footholds to secure himself and the balloon before the P-2 connected with the line. After successfully being winched up into the plane, Smith was greeted with cheers from the pilots and the crew, as well as a relieved Leshak and Fulton himself. Wow, Fulton, just the dude in Connecticut, was like on the plane? I guess so. He invented it.
Yeah, it's his thing. It's his baby.
The men celebrated the successful mission with a drink of medicinal scotch as they flew over the desolate ice back to base. Project Coldfeet would end up being the only operational use of the Fulton Skyhook system in history. Listen, egg all over my face.
Yeah.
It's the biggest success story to ever be successed. What the fuck?
That's what I was saying. I mean, the math makes sense. I mean, again, as long as you connect it to the plane and you get the body, and as long as you can get that body connected and not kill them on the initial takeoff, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. And I had assumed they thought
first
of that.
jolt test.
Oh yeah, that first jolt's a big one. And maybe they had some neck support. They probably didn't, but hey man, it's probably a good back crack.
I mean, why was this
I was-
the only time in history?
Oh, because they lied. They lied to you, Luke. I mean, yes, they use this all the time, and they lied to you and told you like, "Oh yeah, we never use this again. Don't worry about it." And they use it regularly.
I mean, Leshak.
I was trying to find out how hard these guys are getting ripped into the air. Like, I mean, at what speed can the human body endure going 0 to whatever, getting ripped 400 feet into the air into an airplane?
You got to do some research on the Hyperloop and what's his name?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, because that's what all their research is about, right? Here is Leshak, Jake. He lived to be an old man, and like what a crazy story his grandkids get to hear about their grandpa.
Great story.
Great, I mean, amazing story. What was the other guy's name?
I'm
James
gonna
Smith.
Stop you. He
Yeah?
tells it way too much.
Okay, you
Yeah.
think so? I mean, he was
I
a
mean,
spy, so maybe like
It's a lock that every time you're with Leshak, he's telling you about the Operation Ice Hook.
CIA Skyhook. I want to see. Do they have like any actual drawings?
Jimmy, I just dropped a video into the script of the video of it actually in action.
Of the real one?
No, it's them doing cargo with it, but at least it shows how hard it gets like yanked into the air.
Okay. Very excited about this.
I mean, it's basically just when the elevator at the amusement park, when the ones that shoot you up to start, that's what it is.
All right, here we go. Let's watch this shit. It's more like a blimp than a balloon. And it goes it's like a blimp. Yeah, it's like a kite blimp. And there's the hooks. Oh. So the plane flies under the balloon.
Yeah.
I didn't have that in my head, which I don't know why I had that wrong, but it was very more confusing to me and more difficult. Flying under balloon is much easier.
That's what I was trying to say.
Let's watch it again.
Okay.
I mean, the question is, if you have the opportunity to do this, do you do it?
No, absolutely not. There's no way I want to be part of anything like that. But I'd go watch it.
If I could be if I need more information about the grab, I know I've been trying to play the other side of it pretty easily, but that scoop looked not too bad.
Yeah, that looked way easier.
Wonder if the rope hasn't been. I mean, if you can get me off the ground, I mean, then you're flying. You're literally flying. You're attached.
It's crazy. I mean, that's absolutely insane. I can't believe it worked. They definitely used it again. And I think, if I'm being honest, I think that Smith and Leshak definitely cuddled, and they don't tell that part of the story. I think they really spooned in the middle of the night to keep warm.
On the ship.
Everywhere. I think they might have been.
Oh.
When you have that type of attachment, it's a different... I mean, 72 hours in the Arctic, Jake? The Soviets didn't leave any porn?
You don't know that.
They definitely did.
Yeah.
I mean, if they left intelligence, they definitely left their pornos. That's easy. When can we find out, like, did the intelligence actually lead to anything in the Cold War? That's what I would like to know. Statute of limitations up. Tell us what they found.
The CIA doc that talks about this that they released does not mention anything about what intel was recovered. I guess unsurprisingly.
Whatever. You know, they found nothing. That's a crazy story, a crazy mission. I can't believe it worked. Thanks for tuning in to our first episode of Little Laughs. We'll be back with more quick hitters like this. Appreciate you. Wild, wild, wild story. See you later.